What's up, what's up, what's up, you beautiful and sexy you? You are tuned in to Get What You Want with host Jessica Brothers. Sharing these secrets to feeling powerful, healthy, and ageless so you can stop that cycle you're in and break free to live the incredible quality of life you deserve. Welcome to the Get What You Want podcast. This episode is sponsored by freehealthybook.com. If you would like to know why you feel tired, unmotivated, and can't lose that last weight, and how to start feeling powerful, healthy, and ageless, then go to freehealthybook.com. What's up, what's up, what's up, everyone? Welcome to the Get What You Want podcast. I have a beautiful guest today. Her name is Sandee, and oh my gosh, we have so much in common. And I cannot wait to share all of the beautiful, valuable information and stories that are just going to inspire you. Today, we're going to talk about how to take your adversities and turn them into your strengths. Listen in, here we go. What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Get What You Want podcast. I'm so excited. We got a beautiful, amazing guest today. Her name is Sandee. Thank you, Sandee, for being here. I'm really excited. We're going to have a great conversation. I already know we're going to add so much value to our audience. So, Sandee, thank you for being here.
Jessica, thank you. It's such an honor to be on your podcast.
Yes. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. It's an honor to have you. So let's dive right in, Sandee. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Ooh, how much time do we have?
We can do the whole podcast just on that if you want.
Yeah, that's a loaded question. Just briefly, so I come from kind of tragic beginnings from the womb. When my mother was pregnant with me, and my biological father was very physically abusive to my mother and my siblings. He tragically died when I was 18 months old. My mom remarried when I was 3 to my stepfather, who was my father for 47 years, which I'm very grateful for. But he was a very, very strict Catholic. So it was a really, really strict upbringing. I mean, I would get in trouble for being 5 minutes late or smoking cigarettes. Like that was the worst that I ever did, right? Because it was the fear of the stepfather hanging over me. But he was my daddy. When I was 12 years old, though, it was a very happy time in my life. And I was brought home early. My parents had went away for the weekend they got remarried in the Catholic Church. And they went away for a second honeymoon. And I was called back early. It was 2 weeks before my 13th birthday. And that day, my whole life came crumbling down because I learned that my older brother, who was serving in the U.S. Army in Germany, had tragically died. And so it just, my whole life just came crumbling down. And at that time, it was in 1978, no one did therapy. It was complete taboo. And when something like that happens with a child, you really need to talk to somebody. And it's interesting because you don't know what you don't know. And it wasn't until recently that I realized, like, wow, I remember going back to school and nobody said a word to me.
Wow.
The teachers, guidance counselors, like nobody said a word. So here I am with this tragic thing that just tore up my family. My brother, who was 19 years old, was gone. And nobody said a word to me. And I didn't know what I didn't know. But I look back and I'm like, wow, that would have really made a difference, because you end up living with this thing where you felt so alone, and you felt it was like you feel like you're the only person in the world that's ever experienced this, right? And because I didn't know, nobody talked about it. So anyway, I was taught to smile and everything will be okay. And I'm really good at that,
Yes. Oh my God. You and I have a lot in common there.
I am so good at just smiling. And, I could win an Oscar for that. Don't ask me to act, but I could win an Oscar just covering up, So 10 years go by and I made the biggest mistake of my life, where I started using cocaine. And that just eventually I hit rock bottom, ended up in an outpatient recovery program. And that was when I started to pick up the pieces of my life that crumbled around me 12 years earlier, 10, 12 years earlier, whatever it was. So that was 32 years ago. I've been on this
Wow.
path ever since, and I've just become this self-help junkie, and I just can't get enough. And I'm always, because I feel like if we stop growing, life just becomes stagnant. And I feel like we're supposed to grow as humans. That's why we're here. We're here to grow and improve and enrich your own life so that we can enrich others' lives as well.
Yes. If we stop growing, we start dying, right?
Yeah.
It's so important. That's growth. It keeps us young. It keeps our mind active. That challenge, that stress, like stress is there's a threshold of stress. We need some sort of stress in our lives to keep growing, keep strengthening. I mean, when I'm in the gym, I add stress to my muscles so they can come back
That's right.
stronger. When we eat, we add a little bit of stress to our metabolism so it can be stronger. But of course, then there's too much is too much, right? Like too much food can overwhelm it and break down our cellular health even, and stress that out in a way it's not healthy. And same with overtraining. And we can do that on every level. There needs to be a certain amount of stress, in our life for us to grow and be healthy. So yeah, growing every single day, never stop growing, never stop learning, because life does become stagnant. So I love that. And you're like a self-help junkie. Okay. And you want to help people, thrive, of course. So back when you were struggling, Sandee, what was it? What was like your turning point? Is there a moment in time where like, wow, I need to wake up? And what was it? What did that look like for you? What was that memory like for you? What drove you to kind of make that change?
Well, I write about it in my book, Happiness Solved. And it was a really hard decision because my book is part self-improvement book, memoir, and workbook. And I originally did not include the chapter on my drug abuse. And then I realized that if I'm putting myself out there, I have to talk about this in order to truly be authentic. But it's not that I'm ashamed of it, but I just didn't want to talk about it. It's in my past. It's not who I am today, but it is how I got here. So it is very important. Truth be told, I had just gotten engaged to my ex-husband. And he gave me an ultimatum that because he didn't know that I was using it. And I came home after being gone for 24 hours, and he flew home from a business trip. This was before cell phones. He just couldn't get a hold of me. And so he flew home, and I walk in the door, and he had thought that I had been with another man. And I didn't want him to think that, because I wasn't. I was just up partying all night. So I told him, I was like, I have a problem. But what I write about in my book is that what kept me going in that early years of sobriety was remembering how I would lay in bed at 5 a.m, wide awake. I'd been up for almost 24 hours.
Wow.
And I would, I'm a recovering Catholic, but it's always there. And it was like, I was raised that, before you go to sleep, you need to ask for forgiveness of your sins so that if you die, you are entered into heaven, because that was the one thing my mother worried about with my brother. She was like, oh, like she was tormented over that. Did he ask for forgiveness of his sins? Is he in heaven? And, so that was a big thing hanging over me. So I remember multiple times laying in bed, asking for forgiveness of my sins because I did not want to wake up. My heart was racing so badly and I wanted to die. I would never have committed suicide because I was not about to intentionally do that to my mother. I couldn't put her through that again, but I didn't want to live anymore. I just wanted to die. And so that was, while it didn't get me sober initially, it helped me to stay. It helped me to stay clean and off drugs for over 32 years now. And so that was a big turning point, and I didn't even know it at the time.
Wow. Yes. Oh my gosh. So everything happens in our life, I believe, exactly the way it should. And everything happens for a reason. There's no coincidences in life. So your fiance at that time coming home, like, I would have to say that was a savior. That was a savior for
Totally.
you. Oh my gosh. So,
Well, and the thing about that is an hour after I got home, my mother and father showed up because he had called them and they were driving from 3 hours away where they lived in Delaware to Virginia, and they showed up at the front door. And so here I had this like intervention going on. I was like,
yeah, probably one of the scariest things, but
yeah,
also one of the best things as well, right?
right,
Oh
right.
my gosh. Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. So where and when did health come into play for your life? When did that come in?
Well, I think I've always been healthy because I am an athlete. And after a few years after I gave up drugs, I started coaching skating because I was a competitive figure skater. And that's when I got back on the ice and wasn't using drugs or any, then it was like, that's when health became the most important thing for me. And
Mm.
it continues to this day, where it's the number one thing. And there's still a lot like that's the one area in my life where, I focus on mindset, obviously, because that's always, that's my number one thing. And I focus on trying to be as active as I can. However, I'm not physically as active as I would like to be. And we've talked about this before.
Yes, we have. I remember this for people
Because
that
you're like,
don't
now what
know.
is that, Sandee? Because you're like, you're like,
You were you were
I take this, I have a corporate sponsor for my podcast. It's called Magic Mind. And I drink this elixir and it helps me to stay focused. I'm like, I wish there was something I could drink that would like, just, make me go to the gym and start working out.
we need to check your methylation then, Sandee. We
I
need to
know,
figure
right?
out, where that gene is not expressing you, be motivated. So,
I
so
know.
you can go to the gym. Absolutely.
Hey,
Absolutely.
I'm
Oh,
playing
that's
tennis tonight. I'm doing cardio
yes.
tennis tonight.
Oh,
one
I love
hour of
it.
intense tennis. So I'm so excited.
Cardio tennis. Oh, I love that name. So for anyone listening right now, Sandee was on one of my panels for the Health and Wellness Forum for a community we're involved in called the Mentor Studio. And her biggest health challenge was the fact that she wanted to be more active. She knows she needs to be more active, but her challenge was being more active, right? Let me ask you, Sandee, has anything changed since we had that talk?
No. Although, okay, because so I have been playing tennis.
Okay.
And so I'm playing tennis 1 to 2 days a week, sometimes 3 days a week. My challenge is the weights because as women
Ah,
age, you really need, and
yes.
we're moving in 2 weeks. So check in with me because there's an amazing gym down the street from me and I am going to
Okay.
join it. Okay. It's
Mm,
walking distance. There's no excuses.
yes.
So
Okay. So what I'm hearing is you have no problem doing your cardio. It's your
yeah,
resistance
cardios.
training. It's your
Yeah.
all right. And you
And let's see, you're going
understand
to be
the
on my
need.
podcast coming up, right?
Yes, I
Yeah, next
yes.
week.
Oh
Okay,
my
so
gosh,
it's
next
still
week.
too soon.
I am
I
marking the
won't have
calendar
joined yet
2 weeks.
because, right.
Oh man. Oh, that's incredible. So there's going to be a gym within walking distance. So no excuses now. You're going to go
Yeah,
there and lift some weights because that's
yes,
important for your bone health.
it's
So
so important
important.
for your bone health.
Yes.
And my
Yes.
arms would look
Yes.
so much better. Like, because I've been a competitive figure skater most of my life, I've always had really defined arms. And that's starting to dwindle a little bit.
Mm. And first off, you're a beautiful woman, Sandee. You're absolutely beautiful.
Thank
And you
you.
do not look the age that's racking up to what I'm thinking you are in my head because of, timelines you're giving us.
Mhm.
So I love that.
Do the math.
You know, let me ask you, because I promote a lot about being ageless and
Mhm.
keeping our youth and all of that. What do you feel like you have a secret to it?
Oh, I think so, because I don't think that people look at me and realize that I'm 57 years old. I drink a lot of water,
Mm.
water, constantly. I limit my caffeine intake. Sleep is key. I always get at least 7 to 9 hours of sleep every single night. If I'm tired in the afternoon because I work for myself, if I'm able to, I'll lay down for 20, 30 minutes and meditate and fall asleep. A lot of it is mindset, okay, and being happy. You know, because
Yes.
that is my number one priority. And I'm not always happy. I'm kind of a hothead. You know, I'm a natural redhead. And so that's kind of in my genes. And it's okay to get angry. It's okay to get upset. But I also do take care of my skin. And I think that's really, really important. And I've been doing that for decades. And you're never too young to start a routine by, you know, cleansing your face and putting on a good, clean, natural moisturizer.
Yes.
Um,
Keyword clean. Keyword clean.
We don't need all the
Yes.
chemicals and all that stuff. There's plenty of products out there.
Yes.
But really, you know, it's a combination of all of those things, and really stress. You know, I do find ways to eliminate my stress and reduce it substantially. And like you said, we all have stress.
Yes.
But we also have a choice as to how we're going to react to that stress.
Yes, we do. I love that you said that, Sandee. Everything you're talking about with your regimen on keeping your longevity, your youth, it could not be more important. The water, I talk about oxygen as well, and sleep.
Breathing.
Yes, yes. And you do the
Yes.
meditation. That's a de-stressor, and making sure you get your sleep in, and you'll even lay down, because the realness is we have only 24 hours to get our 5 to 6 sleep cycles in. It's really, really important that we do. People think that we can make up our sleep on the weekends, and that's not a thing. You have 24 hours to get your sleep in. Otherwise, you're doing damage to your cellular health. And the health of our cells really determines how we feel on the inside, how we look on the outside, and how we heal on the inside as well. And sleep is really, really important, because when we don't get enough sleep, we go into survival mode. And when we're in survival mode, you talk about feeling happy and feeling good and having a mindset. When you're in survival mode, that mindset is in survival mode. We fear things. We are not making choices coming from a happy standpoint, or from that choice of a better perspective. And so sleep is really, really important. So I love that you shared everything that I completely believe into. And of course, because we both know how important it is, and the truth of it. I mean, you and I both live it. So that's
Yeah.
beautiful.
When you mentioned, oh, I'm sorry, just real quick, you mentioned survival mode.
Yes.
I lived that for a solid 8 years of my life. And that was fairly recent when I came out of that. And it was all circumstantial, where my ex-husband went to prison. And he was in prison for 7 years. But because of an accident that happened, it was a span of 8 years where I was in survival mode for 8 solid years. And he just got out of prison last December. So it's almost been a year now. Fortunately for me, because that happened so far into my journey, that I had so many tools to help me manage it to the best of my ability. But it was not fun. And living that in that mindset every single day, and having to get myself out of it every single day, was excruciating, to say the least. It's not a good place to be.
Absolutely.
Not a good place to be.
But that's also probably where you got the strength and the resilience to realizing your control too, right? Your control of shifting your mindset to feel happy, to build up that resilience to that. Like you, we have a lot of similarities. I learned to smile at a very young age and hide behind it. And I've been through a lot of adversity to help me become strong and realize that it's our choice on how we react to things. And how we react depends on the health of our body too, and in our environment. And it's so important. So yes, I mean, challenges can seem so debilitating in the moment that we're in them, but the beauty is that it can create a lot of really great things for us as well. And That's what I'm hearing that did for you as well. And I hope anyone hearing this can realize that if you're in a bad position right now, if you're going through some trauma right now, if you're going through something where you feel like there's no out. I mean, you heard Sandee, she would lay in that bed and she didn't want to wake up. And there's been moments I felt like that too, but here we are today. And those adversities made us really powerful women and helped us build up these tools in us and understand perspective in our power of choice and mindset and in health and all of that. Do you find that nutrition is a huge part of your life as well, like proper nutrition for your body?
Oh, for sure. I've pretty much eliminated sugar. I haven't had sugar. I don't
Yes.
add sugar to anything and haven't for well over 20 years.
Mm.
Part of it was my body. It started when I'd put a teaspoon of sugar and cream in my coffee, and my body was rejecting it. And I didn't realize it was the sugar. I thought it was the coffee. So now I just drink coffee without it. But what really was the driving force for that is that my father was given 3 months to live when he was diagnosed with bone cancer, and he had multiple tumors all over his entire body. 3 months to live. At the same time, he was diagnosed with like borderline diabetes, and they told him to eliminate sugar. He lived for 16 years. 16 years I had my father. He was able to hold my one and only son, who is my miracle baby, or I was told I would never get pregnant, and I ended up with my amazing kid who's now 22 years old. He got to spend time with my little brother's 2 daughters. 16 years, and it's because he gave up sugar.
Wow. If that's not powerful, gosh, sugar is so detrimental to our health.
It's one of those ingredients. It's one of those things that the FDA probably would not make it legal today.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Lethal to our bodies.
Yeah.
So yes, that
people
was
knew.
a big thing.
Yeah, if people only really knew the depths of how sugar really wreaks havoc inside our body. And I say this all the time, Sandee, if we could see, if the inside of our body displayed on the outside of our body, which in sometimes it does because it shows in our skin when it gets bad enough on the inside. But if we could see the inside of our body on the outside of our body, so many people would rethink how they treat their body, what they choose to eat, but the thing is, we don't see it. So we turn a blind eye to it. And then we're not taught that the symptoms that we get are our body telling us, something's wrong inside here. You can't see it, but this is my way of talking to you about it. Can you hear me? No? Then I'm going to create something bigger. You're still not listening. Let me create something bigger. And it speaks louder and louder and louder. I love that story about your dad. That's beautiful. That is beautiful, Sandee.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
So Sandee, tell us one way, if someone's listening, that you help people today.
Well, I'm a happiness and success coach, and I'm also a sports psychology coach to elite athletes. I was recruited by an international training center that's nearby. I know all the coaches there, the owner of the ice rink. And because I don't have any desire to coach skating anymore, because I'm a retired U.S. national and international figure skating coach. And one of the biggest things that I love, that I'm really making a difference with, is some of the skaters that I'm working with. And when you're working with younger people, especially like preteen and teen, like I had a situation with one of my skaters, and she's 15 years old. I talked to her once 2 weeks ago, and she shared something with me. And I said, this is the 3rd time you've brought it up. So it's obviously something that's bothering you. And I gave her some steps to take. I didn't talk to her for 2 weeks. I spoke to her 2 nights ago. And, because we only talk twice a month. And she was like, I'm in this cleansing period, and I'm allowing myself to be my authentic self, and I'm speaking my truth. And I was just blown away at how quickly. And I find that with like her little sister, who I only talked to a couple of times, that she only had one issue. And I told her how to think about it. And she's like, oh yeah, I'm done. I'm over that. And it's like they're little sponges. And that's why I love working with adolescents, is because they're so much more open. Because as we age, we're a lot more stubborn. the big thing for me is helping people to flip that light switch. You know, I say on my website, you know, have you ever met a person that can turn the switch from unhappy to happy? You know, that's me, you know, like that's my superpower, is to help people flip that switch, to realize that they have a choice every second of every day.
Yes.
You're feeling like a victim. You're feeling, you know, all of these things. Nobody's telling you to do that. You're choosing that for yourself.
Yes. Yes.
And I know that because I was a victim for years. And I know that nobody was telling me to, okay, say this. No, it was me. My own mind was telling me. And you have control over that. And I think that people, we give our power away so easily. Whether it's comparing yourself to other people. Oh, I wish I had that. I wish I could be like that. I wish I could, you know, and heck, you know, I read about this too in my book. You know, if you say you want to be like another person, you better be willing to take all of the good and all the bad that person has, because it's a package deal. Because let me tell you something, you know, I've had people say they want to be like me. I'm like, I would not want anybody to go through what I've gone through and what I do it to my own mind every single day. For me, I don't want to be like anybody else. I know my baggage. I know what it is. I'm comfortable with it. I live with it. I know how to make it disappear when it surfaces again. No, you know, and I don't think people really, they put too much credit and project onto others, and they don't really see the full picture. You know, you're seeing all these beautiful pictures on Facebook, and everybody's so happy. I promise you, they are not as happy as they're showing up to be, most likely.
Yeah.
It's
only
a
just snapshots. It sure is. It sure is. And I love how you say that. If you are wanting to be someone else, you better take the whole journey. Be willing to take that, because I don't think there's a single person on this earth that has a perfect life. I mean, perfect is a word that's not even, I mean, what is perfect, right? It's this false word to me. We all go through adversity. We all go through things. And yes, it is our choice every moment of every day to show up how we choose. No one does anything to us. No one can hurt you without your permission. No one can make your choices for you unless you give your power away. And we have the ability in any moment, at any time, to come to, you know, breathe, meditate, whatever it is, whatever tool it is for you to put into play, for you to come to your now, where all your power is, and choose to show up as you authentically.
Yes.
And feel good. Feel good. It's about the feeling. If you feel yucky, that means your thoughts are yucky. If you feel good, that means your thoughts are good.
Yeah.
And that's up to us. Our mind doesn't control us. We control our mind. That's just a storage bank. Don't let it go on autoplay. You know, don't let it go on autoplay, because you're going to end up feeling really yucky and missing out on the beauty of right now.
That's right.
I think it's got something to do with the power of smiles that we learned at a young age, Sandee, that you and I have the same superpower.
I love it.
You use the light switch, I use a coin. It's like, you know, you can only see one side of the coin at a time. And if this side of the coin makes you feel yucky, all right, let's look at the other side, because all that yuckiness will go away. And you talk about a light switch where you can only have it on or off. You can't have it on and off at the same time. It's impossible, right?
Right.
Yes. Oh my God, that is so awesome. Sandee, you are so valuable. So valuable. I know everyone right now listening to this is like, wow, that is so true. I never thought about that our power it's a choice. It's a choice, and don't give it away. So Sandee, what's next for you? What's next for you?
Well, there may be some television stuff in the works.
Yes.
I have a joint venture with a media production company, and can't say any more than that, but we're working on something really good.
Something really good. Wow, that sounds really exciting. Yes, reach as many people as possible.
Yeah.
I do want to ask you one last thing. Do you have a mission statement?
Do I have a mission statement?
Or what is your biggest mission?
So my biggest mission is to inspire millions of people to choose happiness. And I guess, you know, I do have a statement on my website that says, you know, success doesn't bring you happiness. Happiness brings you success. And I think that so often, so many people think that, well, when I reach this success, then I'm going to be happy, but it's completely the opposite. So that's really my big mission, is to, if you really want success in your life, whatever that looks like, even if you're a stay-at-home mom, which is the hardest job on the planet, because I did it for 10 years, you know, stay-at-home mom, and you just want to, you know, do the, and you want to, and that's your definition of success. Perfect. That's perfect. Whatever that definition of success is for you, happiness will bring you there.
Yes,
it's not the other way around.
It's so true. It's so true. I have a saying that seeing is not believing. Believing is seeing. You know, and that it kind of ties in with what you're saying, because we all want things in life, and we feel that they have to be in our life for us to be happy, right? Well, if only I had this, I'd be happy. And it's actually it's the other way around. You have to be happy first in order to receive the things you want.
Right.
You know, so they're very similar on that aspect.
So my very first self-help book that I read was written by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And I don't remember the exact title, but it was kind of what you just said. I think it was something like, when you believe it, you'll see it. He has a book out. And I read this probably in 1990. I don't know, 1991. It was literally the first self-help book that I read.
Wow.
And
yes.
It was a new concept, because we're raised, oh, I'll see it when I believe it. I'll see it when I believe it.
Yes. And it's actually, you know, it's the opposite. It really is. And
or when
so
I see it, I'll
first.
believe. Yeah. When I see it, I'll believe it. Like
I'll believe it. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. That's what we're raised on. It's actually the quite opposite, right?
Totally.
And yeah, you're totally right. Like, people always go after the success thinking that's going to make them happy. They go after the money thinking that's when they'll be happy. When I get this, then I'll be happy. When you get stuck in those if and thens, that's when that cycle really, you get stuck in that cycle. And then you wonder, why me? When is this going to happen for me? But reality is, well, you're doing it to yourself. You got to take responsibility for your life and your reactions and your emotions and your responsibilities in life. And you have to show up for yourself how you want to feel. And then everything else in life will come to fruition beyond that. But it all starts with you. And we're taught to get things externally to feel something internally. But really,
right.
you have to be internal first to receive it externally. And I think that's a powerful message that people really should be taking away from our talk today, is the choice of internal first to have it external.
Yeah.
You know, absolutely, Sandee.
And just like what you do, it's all connected. What we eat, how we think, your sleep, like exercise, everything is all connected. It's not just one. It's just that whole, you know,
it's our
putting
whole
it
web.
all together.
It is the whole web. You can't, yes, I mean, the spider web is coming into my imagination right now. And if you pluck one of those pieces of that beautiful web away, it affects the whole shape of the entire web. And that is our life. That is our life. We got to find that happiness in all areas of our life, for everything to feel good and for us to have that success that we desire for ourselves. It's all connected, Sandee. I love that.
Yes.
And you have a beautiful smile on top of it.
Oh, thank you.
I love this, Sandee. Yes, thank you for joining us. I want to do this again. I feel like we have so much to dive into on such a deeper level.
Absolutely.
And I would love to do this again, Sandee. It was an honor to have you on and talk about some beautiful things and drop so much value too. So thank you so much for being with us, Sandee.
Oh, Jessica, thank you. I'm so grateful for you and everything that you do. And I'm so great that we're in an amazing community together, the Mentor Studio, and it's incredible.
It sure is. And if anybody listening wants to know what the Mentor Studio is, just because we've been talking about it, definitely either reach out to Sandee or myself and we can get you more information on that. But everyone listening, thank you for coming in. Thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing to spend your time with Sandee and I. I know that you got at least a few things that you can walk away with today, because there was so much fantastic conversation happening. If you like what you heard, click that button, subscribe, like whatever platform you're listening to this on, so you can get more of the Get What You Want podcast. Again, thank you for being here. Until next time, rock your life, own your life, love yourself more today, everyone. Until next time, adios. Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.